Welcome and welcome back. A bit of a different one today. We got some extra clarification on things like how many points we're going to get, how many resets we're going to get, and a couple of extra bits. So let's talk about it. Now, yes, I'm not in my slides today because they actually put out a really nice blog just helping give a bunch of clarification for the skill tree since, yeah, I mean, it is definitely a little complicated looking. I'll give them that. But hopefully my discussion from yesterday helped folks kind of read into how you're going to do these builds. I'm going to give another example here on the end now that we have some more details. But before I get ahead of myself, what all have they given us today? Well, the first thing that they gave us was actually not related to Demonic Pacts really at all. We've got a sneak peek here of how many tasks and how many points we're going to need to unlock some things. Right now, it looks like we're going to need 80 tasks to get to our first area unlock, which is going to be Karamja. Now, it does make me a little nervous that it's just Karamja. I know we had speculated before, based on the other picture from the blog, that we might have to go all the way through all these different tasks to get areas, and it kind of looks like this is confirming that for us, where your first unlock is going to be just Karamja. So you are going to be spending quite a lot of time in Varlamore and Karamja to get yourself to kind of like your first real choice for an area. So just bear that in mind. And also, we're going to have, it looks like, 600 points to get ourselves to Tier 2. So we do get the Tier 1. That's like the Gathering Relic. So an Endless Harvest, Barbarian Gathering, and Abundance of Trash Cans. So all three of those are going to be Tier 1. They're free for you whenever you start. It's going to be a part of the tutorial. But you're going to have to get to 600 points if you want to take either Hotfoot, Foraging in the Bin, or Woodsman. Now, that is a little faster than what we've had last year, so if you've played any of the leagues before, you're probably going to get that in like 30 minutes. I mean, an hour. Honestly, you'll probably get it faster than either of those, just because the points, they roll in pretty well. I am going to put together some sort of like first hour path or guide or what have you once we do get the task list, so that way you can quickly unlock your first relic, maybe your first two, maybe Karamja as well. We'll have to see depending on how much they give us, but I am going to be putting together something like that. But it is interesting. So we might actually be able to get to, since this is a little sooner, we might get to Tier 3 a little sooner than we're used to, and Tier 4. They did say the overall relics are going to feel about the same as previous leagues, so that might also mean, at least comparatively, 7 and 8 might be a little farther away. But I digress. This isn't really the big reason why we're here today. They gave us how many pack points in total we're going to get and how we're going to get them. So 40 points in total, that's a lot. Yesterday I was recommending 25. We got ourselves 15 extra to play around with, which is great. And of course they did explain, okay, so we're going to get these points by just completing certain tasks in the areas. So some of them are boss related, some of them are like skilling requirement related, and they did give us all of them so we can actually talk through those. But how this is going to work, 9 are coming from global tasks, 2 of which you get at the start. That's going to let you unlock the center node in the tree and then one of the other surrounding ones just right from the get-go. You're getting 4 from Varlamore, 6 from Karamja, and then 7 from each area that you unlock. So that'll be 21 in total from your area unlocks. That's how you get up to the 40. So, okay, how bad are these tasks going to be? Are we going to be crying? Tears of happiness or tears of joy? What are we thinking, Jagex? On the global task, of course, we have the 2 right at the start. And the way that they've set this up, you've got what the task is, how many league points it's going to be. So we're also getting league points for doing this stuff. And also, each of these bullets is worth 1 demonic pact points. So, yeah, it's a little much. I hear you, but bear with me. We're going to get through it. So we've got, in the global pool, completing the leagues tutorial. That's a free one at the start. Opening the leagues menu is the other freebie. Both of those are 10 points, 1 demonic pact points each. That's how we get our 2. And then we've got defeating a hill giant. There are a lot of hill giants running around on Varlamore, so that one's basically free. 50 combats, nothing. Using Protect from Melee Prayer is going to be 43 prayer, so that's also basically nothing. And then we've got points associated to killing each of the Echo bosses, all the way up to the 4th one. Because remember, we do get an Echo boss in Varlamore, so we all are going to have 4 echoes this year, regardless of what areas you choose. And you'll also notice they've mentioned the reset in here. Yes, they did confirm we are going to get 3 resets, and you get these by killing the Echo bosses. Your first 3 Echo boss kills, that's where you're going to get your resets from. Well, unique Echo bosses. So you can't kill the same one 3 times, but you kill the Varlamore Echo, then you go to Kandarin, and you kill like the Thermonuclear Smoke Devil Echo, And then maybe you go to like Mauritania, you kill the Grotesque Guardian Echo. That's your 3. Now, this is worth keeping in mind too, because some of the Echoes are more challenging than others. So if you're worried about having those resets, you may want to make sure that you get at least a couple of easy ones in the mix. I imagine that the Barlamore one's going to be at least somewhat easy. We don't know yet because they haven't given us like the stats or the mechanics, but it's a Moxliotl. It's like an early game boss. Surely they're not going to make that one crazy. But all right, moving on to the different areas. Barlamore, where we all start, we've got a Huey Coddle kill for one of them. That one is going to also be a free point because remember, Huey is a group boss. You can have up to 25 people killing him. So everybody's locked to Barlamore. There's going to be people at Huey. Just go over there, especially maybe you like pick up the Evil Eye teleport. It's going to be your bank anyway. You see people running it, just jump in for like 1 kill and you'll get a free point. Then it ramps up a little bit more. Okay, we've got completing the Colosseum. That might be tough for some folks. Defeating Awakened Vardorvis. Half of you are now sweating. And equipping Vernic Treads. I mean, that one is more of like an RNG check. Doom does drop the treads, I think, on wave 4 or wave 5. Or I guess depth 4, depth 5. But you don't have to go through like infinite delves with that. But Doom is also maybe not the easiest thing. So it looks like some of these points are going to be tied to some endgame PVM stuff. So maybe it's best to not assume that we're getting all 40, but maybe we're more in the ballpark of like 30, 35. We'll see as we go through the areas, and I'll give my thoughts on what I would do build-wise towards the end. Next up for Karamja, we have got defeating a Steel Dragon, defeating a Tazar. Both of those are pretty free. Completing the Tazar Ket Wreck 3rd challenge. That is having 3 Jads on you at once. Equipping a Fire Cape, so getting through just the fight caves. Completing the Tazar Ket Wreck special challenge, which I think was 6 Jads plus other Inferno mobs. That one's going to be tough. I don't even know if I beat that last year. And then equipping an Infernal Cape. I know that one is intimidating for a lot of folks, but once you get a lot of the power, going through the Inferno isn't going to be that challenging because you're going to have a lot of heals. Granted, depending on what powers that you take, but there's a lot of healing in the mastery tree here, so you'll probably be able to just out-sustain stuff. Really, it's going to be, can you deal with 3 Jads and can you deal with Zuck? Those are really going to be the challenges for the Inferno, which it does suck because, yeah, you have to run through the waves to get there. But again, I think there's enough points here that we're going to have some leeway. For Asgarnia, we've got defeat a Troll in Asgarnia, defeating Royal Titan solo, equipping a Dragon Dagger, defeating the Awakened Whisperer, equip a God Sword, equip the Bellator Ring, which is the ring that comes from the Whisperer, and defeat Next solo. Depending on what they've done with the Whisperer, that might kind of suck. Also, the ring might kind of suck, right? Because if you have to farm the Whisperer, some of the mechanics around it, it has like some phases you have to wait for. That may not be the most fun to do. Next solo is also an interesting one because it's not normally an easy solo, but it is definitely doable in leagues. I think this is still probably easier than something like the Inferno or the Colosseum. In the desert, we have setting a mummy ablaze. I actually don't even know how to do this one. It's probably just some random task, like maybe you go into Pyramid Plunder with a tinderbox. I don't know. That one we'll have to be looking up later. Casting Ice Barrage, that one you're just going to naturally get. In the desert, you've got ancient spells. You're going to be training your magic up over the league, so you will get there eventually. Awaken Leviathan, that one's kind of tough. Equipping a Dragon Chain Body, that's kind of like an RNG check for farming out Calfight Queen. Equipping a piece of Missouri, that's just running some of the raids, which if you're in the desert, you're going to be running TOA. You'll just eventually pick that one up. Equipping a Venator Ring, that's the ring that you farm from the Leviathan, and then equipping the Osmutton's Fang Ornament Kit version, which that means getting a Fang and also getting the Ornament Kit, and the Ornament Kit means you're doing some pretty tough TOAs. So in leagues, I mean, you can definitely do it easier than the main game, but I do think that one will probably be a little challenging for some folks. In the Fremnik region, we have got defeating a Cockatrice, kill 8 penguins within 5 seconds, defeat the Phantom Muspa, defeat the Basilisk Knight, defeat Awakened Duke, defeat Borkath 5 times without special damage, and then equip the Magus Ring, which is the ring you farm from Duke Succulus. Now, in the last league, they gave us essentially like the ability to infinitely prep Duke Succulus. So if you're not familiar with that boss fight, you have to do a little bit of skilling before you actually fight him. So you create a potion, and then you use that potion to wake him up, and then you have the boss fight. If they give us that again, he's actually probably one of the easier Desert Treasure 2 bosses to farm. So while it's not the easiest thing to get the Awakened one down and also the Magus Ring, I think compared to the other Desert Treasure 2 bosses, this one's probably the most doable. So I actually think the Fremnik region point tasks, they're not bad. If you struggle with Vorkath, maybe that one would give you a little trouble. But this definitely feels a lot easier than, say, like, Varlamore. Granted, Varlamore doesn't have as many points, but, I mean, ugh. Kandarin, we have got defeating a demonic gorilla, defeating a mithril dragon, Kraken 50 times, equipping a trident of the sea, some Zenite jewelry, an abyssal tentacle, and an occult necklace. Now, while some of these do have high skilling requirements, these are all going to be things that you're just naturally going to get to in Kandarin. So that's actually probably like some points for Kandarin, because none of these are going to be overly difficult. At worst, like a crafting skilling grind for making Zenite jewelry, it is up in the 90s, but Abundance would help you with that if you happen to take it. I'm not sure I would take that, but, it's there for you. You also have things like the Occult Necklace, which is just a little bit of RNG farming from the Smoke Devils. But again, you're going to be doing that anyway, because the Smoke Devil boss is the Echo, so like you're going to be killing that stuff a lot. Moving on to Karen, we've got open 1 grubby chest, 150 Lizardman Shaman kills, 1 Skatizo kill. All those are pretty straightforward. 25 chambers. Okay, it's not a difficult task. It might be a little grindy depending on what your build is looking like when you get there. Definitely make sure to find some people who have different styles that are empowered for themselves. So if you're going melee, try and find someone who's going mage and someone who's going range before you go in there. That'll speed up your runs a lot. Equipping a Dragon Hunter Lance, that is just going to be getting enough Slayer for Hydra. Radiant Oath Plate, that's Yama. Yama contracts can be rather difficult. There are 3 different Radiant-related contracts, so you do have a little bit of a choice since it doesn't specify a piece. But if we're given every area like one that people can't do, this is one that people are probably going to struggle with. And then we've got equipping a piece of Ancestral, which you're running 25 chambers. There's a decent chance that you're going to pick up a piece. If you run a lot of chambers, you are going to naturally get this, but also chambers is kind of the worst raid to run for purples. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is like one of the ones that you skip. Now, in Mauritania, we've got defeating a werewolf, 1 Araxor kill, assemble a Slayer helmet, create a Blood Fury, equip any full Barrows armor set. At least it's only 1 set, but man, I guess we're still farming Barrows, aren't we? Completing the Theater of Blood 25 times, and defeating Fizani's Nightmare. Now, Theater of Blood, you're almost certainly going to be running that if you're in Mauritania, because it is really good for purples, really good for the mega rares as well. You can actually guarantee purples after a point, so I don't think that's going to be difficult for you. Fizani's Nightmare, I believe, is the elevated version of Nightmare that you have to solo. So normally Nightmare you could do technically in a group, which is fine. It does speed it up a lot. Fizani's, since you gotta solo this sucker, man, they took a phase out of it like within the last year or something, so it's not quite as bad as folks may remember, but Nightmare is aptly named, okay? This is probably a pretty good skip, at least for a while. I think it might be easier than like some of the Desert Treasure 2 Awakened bosses. Maybe. A little hit and miss depending on how you feel about Nightmare in particular. 2 more to go. We've got Taranwin. Kill a Black Dragon, complete the Corrupted Gauntlet, defeat Volcano, equip a Dark Bow, craft Toxic Blowpipe, use a Prayer Altar to restore 90 prayer points, and equipped a Corrupted Weapon. Out of all of these, most of them are going to be stuff that you just pick up along the way because you're in Taranwin, so I really like that. Equipping a Corrupted Weapon does mean you have to grind out the Gauntlet for an Enhanced Seed, which can be a pain in the butt. You probably want to do that anyway if you're in Taranwin, because you're probably there at least in part for like the Bofa or the Blade of Salador. But yeah, I mean, if there was one that you wanted to skip, you could probably skip this one if you're getting unlucky on the Weapon Seed. Granted, we still need to know what the Echo does, but last year it was related to the armor, so like you didn't have to get one of the weapons. You could just roll with the armor and that did good enough stuff for you. And last but certainly not least, the Wilderness. The Wilderness, we have got defeat a Chaos Druid, defeat a Chaos Dwarf, defeat the Corporeal Beast, equip a Dragon 2-hand, equip a Malediction Ward, equip a piece of Dagon High, equip the Void Waker, and imbue a God Cape. Of these, I mean, the worst one would be equip a Void Waker, but honestly, all of these are super easy. I love that for the Wilderness. I think the Wilderness and Kandarin are probably the winners when it comes to the easier tasks. But I mean, really, in general, what they have for these kind of like supporting regions, so even Taranwin and Fremnik, none of these tasks are super scary. So having looked through this list, I do think it's fair to say, aiming for somewhere between like 30 and 35 points is going to be really doable for everybody. So what that means is you get 30 to 35 of these little nodes lit up. And let me jump over to the site to show you what that's going to look like. So here I am. This is the wiki version. There is a second one that is that I showed off yesterday. It's a little bit different, but they both do the same things. You can highlight over any of these. They're going to show you what the bonus is going to be from that thing. You can click out here. It's going to fill your path. It's going to show you all of the effects that you have on the right. Actually, let me hide myself so you can see that. You got all the effects over here on the right. It also shows you how many points that you've spent. So whether you want to use the wiki or you want to use the other site, it's up to you, but they both do the same thing. So now that we know we're going to get somewhere between 30 and 35 points, what is that going to look like? Now, as I talked about in yesterday's video, when you're doing these builds, I highly encourage you just look at the outside part of these big nodes here that I was calling keystones. These are where a lot of your power is going to lie. This is really where you're going to like figure out what builds you want to go. So maybe you want to do something magic. Let's just see. The fire one applies burn, and it applies it up to 2 additional targets. That's pretty cool. Maybe I want to be a firebender. How many points does it take me to get there? It takes me 9 different nodes. Now, I may want to pick up some of the stuff around here, but this is going to give you a good idea of kind of the core of your build. Now, you know what? Maybe I want to become the avatar. Let me just go ahead and pick up all 4 of the elements. This has now used 26 points. So you can actually fill out quite a lot of this tree if you're getting all of the points together. And just for fun, I've completely highlighted the mage side. This is 39 points right here. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this as a build, and I am going to have a couple of videos going over some more generalized builds that people have come up with in the community, what we think are going to be fun. So if you're someone who doesn't like kind of digging into the planning and you just want to have someone hand you a build, don't worry, that is coming. But I highly encourage for the folks who do like to do this sort of planning, you look at those outside nodes, you don't have to stick to one style. We have a lot of points. And just to kind of reiterate this, let me pick a couple from each of these different sides. If I wanted to do something like this and go for like a tribrid sort of build, I totally can. This right here is 27 points. So there's still 13 points to play around with on this tree. So, I mean, I can even go through and, you know what, maybe I just want everything for ranged. We're at 37 points now, but I also have bonuses for magic and for melee. That's what's really cool about this. There's so many points and so much flexibility, but I spent a lot of time in yesterday's video kind of talking through what these different builds are going to look like from a high-level standpoint. So I think I'm going to wrap the discussion here. Again, if you want to see some of the stuff that I've got coming through the pipeline for leagues, make sure to subscribe for that. And if you want to share your build, discuss your build, I've got the Discord link down below. So make sure to join that and kind of get involved in the conversation. See what people are doing. Maybe you want to do something with the atlatls because those are going to count as throwing weapons. That's going to be really cool. Hit us up. Let us know. But with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.